Hey up, welcome back. This is part 2 of bathroom renovation. So in this episode I'm going to be ripping all this wall out and attempting to fit a pocket door. Never done it before, it's the first time for me, so I will show you the steps on how I hopefully managed to fit this pocket door, because yeah, there's no going back now. I have literally put an hole in the wall. You can see straight downstairs, so anyone coming up the stairs has got a nice view of whoever sat on the loo. So yeah, in the first episode stripped all this back. I told you about, mentioned to you about this used to be two separate rooms at one point. It was actually a separate toilet and bathroom, so this used to be a door at one point, which now I'm going to take this off. It's going to slide in as a pocket door. So yeah, let's get ripping all this lot down. Right, that is all that wall down. So now we've got the opening, it's time to build the frame. One thing I did notice, the wall that I've just taken down, it wasn't actually straight, it sort of looked inwards a bit like that. So whoever had done it hadn't put it quite square. So I'm going to rectify that hopefully and have it coming straight, which means I'm going to have to strip a bit of this plaster off at walls. But Huepar were kind enough to send me out this little beauty. Now this should help get me a straight line, so I'm going to set this up and get this cut. We'll get a straight line cut on that, and then we can start building the frame up to fit the pocket door. Yeah, we'll get that set up now. Right, so as you can see, I've got this set up. It's roughly where I need it to be. It's going to be a bit noisy and dusty, this section, so literally just like that, it's done. Right, so we'll start making the framework for it now. Right, so next step, I need to measure my uprights and measure across the top. I'm going to have it so the top actually rests on the uprights. So we'll get them measured up and we can get them cut to size, and hopefully they should fit then. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drill and screw them directly into the brickwork at the sides. I haven't got anything to screw the top to because it does actually miss one of the joists in the loft, which is a shame. It would have been nice to be able to screw it to a joist as well. So we're going to have to just use these two walls as anchor points. So yeah, we'll get these measured up then now. Right, that's the two uprights cut. I'm just about to cut the one that goes across the top, then we can go and see whether they actually fit. Right, that is the pieces of wood just placed in. Quite a nice snug fit, so that's even better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some pilot holes in this, get that fully screwed to the wall, do the same with this one, and then this top piece, what we need is we need another piece that comes across here. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but in the instructions for this sliding door it says obviously the gap needs to be 2 times the width of the door plus at least 30 mil, which, as it happens, this gap is just a little bit bigger than 30 mil. So that is the full frame pretty much. And then from the top I need to work out now how high this floor is going to be once I've boarded it and put the tiles on. And then we need like a 10 mil, 10 mil gap under the door. So I need to figure out what that will be. And then at the top, when I fit the top one, I can't remember without looking at the instructions, but you need to leave it, I think it's about 50 mil higher than what the door is, you know, for the mechanisms. First job, get these screwed to the wall, and then I can sew that top piece out after. Right, I put some pilot holes in here. I held it in place using the laser to make sure it were up straight, and then this is like a, I don't know if you can see that there, little green dot. What you do is once you've got it in place, you put that in your hole, push it, and it squirts a bit of green chalk through so it marks where you need to drill it. So now I've got my SDS drill, 8mm drill bit, and these are the plugs that I'm going to be using. So 8mm by 40mm, and then I've got some 5mm by 90 long screws to screw it all together. So I'll get this drilled, get it screwed on, and then we'll move on to the next step. Right, I'll give you a quick look at the drawing. So this is the size door that I've got, which is a 1981 by 762. So the rough opening width, which is, so this is the piece that I've put on here and here, needs to be 1554, right? This is just a rough measurement. I've actually got 1575, which is, I'm guessing will be fine. As for the height, we've got 2071, which is, that puts into account all the, well, it's pretty much worked it out for you, so it's pretty simple to work out. So if we come back here, I'll show you what I've done. So this is what the frame's like at the minute. Now, as you can see, the green line, I've set that green line exactly 2070 mil from the floor. That gives me all my clearances and everything. So what I need to do now is put another cross member on top of this line at both sides, and then put some little pieces in just to rigid it up a bit, and then screw all that together, and that is the frame complete. And then I can start assembling the actual mechanism for this. So I'll get these cut, off, get them screwed up, and then I'll show you what it's like once these are all done. Right, before I go, I just thought I'd let you know how I'm going to be measuring the downs that I need. So it's pretty simple. I can, now I've set that laser up, I can just stick my tape measure up, and then I've got a dead measurement. You know, because it is an old house and no is really square, so I'm having to improvise slightly. I'm trying to make this as square as I can, but trying to go off of these walls. As you can see, we are running out a little bit on this one, but it is what it is. That's what you get when you get an old house. So we'll get these cut up and screwed together. Right, that is the frame up. What I did is I took that top piece off, so I've screwed these in front top, and obviously front bottom. I put 3 in middle one just to strengthen it up a little bit. As you can see, screwed it in everywhere, nice and level. This laser level, it's it's absolutely fantastic. I'll leave a link in the description where you can get it from, and also if I can find it, I'll leave the pocket door kit in the description as well, which is what I need to start fitting now. So I'm going to get it out, try and figure out how to install it. Right, this is the pocket door kit, what we've got, and as you can see there's not a great deal to it, so I'm hoping it's pretty simple to install. This is your runner all assembled, so let's get it upstairs and try fitting it. Right, here we've got one of the pieces out of the box. Now on the instructions it says lay that in place, roughly whereabouts it's going to go. Obviously that is the top piece, but it's just a guide for fitting these bottom brackets. Now you can see my laser level, that's in line with that edge of the framework, and these two brackets fit. This one goes in the middle of like here and that stud. So that's what step you've got at the minute. Also gives you some guide screws to put in at either side, and that is, I think you have to measure from the floor up, and it's 1,999 mil. So it's do that on both sides. Not entirely sure what it's for just yet, but I will let you know. But that's where we are at the minute, so I'll get the next steps sorted out and tell you what that involves. Right, the next step is getting these pieces, and then what you do is you get this, well actually you get this one, right, you get your runner, put your this one in first, that way around, you know, facing up, and then slide this one in like so, and then that locks it. Then do the same at the other end, like so. There we go. Then what you need to do is this goes on that end like so, and this one fits on this end like so, and then that slots onto these guide screws at each end. So I'll just get that slotted on and get it all screwed in place now, and then I can show you what that looks like. Right, that is installed. Quite tricky. I had to get my wife to come and help me because we've got a slightly bigger gap than what it suggested on thing. So I had to have these brackets loose and get it all in position before actually screwing them on. So you just have to sort of put them on the guide screw while holding it inside here, then sort of hook them on and swivel them round, and once they're up you can tighten that guide screw up, and it gives it a bit more of a snug fit. And then as you can see, once you've got it in the position you want, I've left a bit of a gap at this side because I'm going to be putting a new, like a trim piece of wood on here to make it look a bit nicer. But yeah, basically that's that bracket. This bracket is slightly different, but you can see it sort of slots into the track. Then as you come over, you can see these pieces are ready for, I assume, putting the door on it somehow. Yeah, we'll move on to the next step. Right, so now we're fitting these uprights. Now if you can have a look here, one side has got some slots on it, the other side hasn't. I've just marked on here just a little mark to show where I'm going to put the screws through, so I can see while I'm up there. The other end, these brackets that you put on floor, the little tabs that are sticking up, you actually thread them in between the piece of wood and the metal casing on this, so that it holds it secure. And then as you can see, I've got my laser level just in line to keep sure to make sure that it's still in line. So I've got 2 screws. All the screws did come in the kit. It tells you which screws you need to use when. So I'll get these put in now. I'll just screw them in a little bit first and then put them all the way in. Right. So depending on what size you do, it does say you might have to cut these down a bit, but because I've got a piece of wood missing from where the top step used to be, it's a little bit lower, so I'm having to just hold it up just ever so slightly, and then you're screwing it basically into this top piece of wood that came with the runner attached. So there we go. That's it, and basically you repeat it another 3 times, one at this side, one in the middle at both sides. So I'll come back, I'll get them done, and then I'll bring you back. Right, it's actually the next day now. A couple of things didn't quite go right. For one, you might notice the door's on now. When I was looking back at the footage, there were a few things that I were explaining that for some reason my mic decided it wasn't going to work. So I'm going to show you these other things in a little bit more detail. But I did have to take like all this frame back off again, because when the last clip you saw, I was putting these things on. I said I'd bring you back once they were up. I tried putting the door on and things wasn't quite right, so I'll go through, I'll explain all the bits what the mic didn't pick up, and I'll show you what I've done to rectify. And as you can see, we are actually working finally. I'm not going to say it were easy, but we've got there. So I'll show you all the little things what I had to do. Right, the first thing I want to show you is this runner. When I put this runner up, there's actually these pieces that you have to slot in first. Right, these clamp down and they are like your stops. Now if you look up here, these are little black things. It tells you they do actually fit in, they have a certain orientation. There's a certain point on it that points towards the stop. Obviously if you follow the track, there's another one at this end, and this one has to point that way. You do get a bag with some bolts. There's like 2 nuts, there's a locking nut and a bolt. So there's a nut that fits inside the runner, this little black runner thing, it fits inside. Then you put your locking nut on, then you screw the bolt up into it, and these little brackets just screw directly onto the top of the door. And then if I bring you around this side, you can see it's got a slot, so you can slot the door then onto it and nip that bolt up. But you can also adjust the height of them, so when you come over here you can sort of adjust it You see, I've got it close. There is a slightly bigger gap at the bottom than what there is at the top. So I can either just lift this one up a little bit or lower this one a little bit and it'll level it out. The other problem I had is this. I ended up having to move it all the way up to the top piece because it was actually a bit too low. I'd got the measurements wrong, so there were hardly any gap at the bottom for the door. So by the time I'd put my flooring and everything, there would have been no gap for the door. So I've moved all that fully up, and that meant that these pieces, because there were the old step there, I took that out. I had to put some packing pieces back in, and also this little plastic thing here is a door guide, which I had to make a little spacer for that as well, just to lift it up enough for it to engage with the door. So that is what I've had to do. Another thing what I did, which you don't really have to do, but because this is quite an heavy door, I noticed that this was sagging a little bit. Obviously it's not going to, because these do actually hold it up, but just to be on the safe side, you can see there I stuck a screw at both sides that goes up through it and into here, so it is actually held with a screw as well, just a little bit extra security, I thought. But yeah, that is it now. So now I am ready to be able to put a plasterboard up and have a private toilet again. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put a plasterboard on this side. I'm going to leave the other side open for now, so I can do any fine tuning at a later date when I need to. So yeah, I'll get the plasterboard put on here now. Right, that's one piece of plasterboard up. I've only put it on temporarily at the moment, because if you look here, there's a bit of a gap there. And what you're supposed to do is, where this piece is, let me show you on the other side with no plasterboard on. So on this piece here, you're supposed to get a bit of 32 by 12 timber, which you have coming across here and across here, so it builds a corner up, makes it a nicer finish. And then you have your plasterboard going up to the so you know, 32 mil in from this end, your plasterboard goes there. So I've only fitted it just for a bit of privacy. I've also got a little piece of wood in my shed that I can just, you know, just get a couple of nails in there with nail gun, just to replicate the piece of wood what I will be putting on there when it's finished. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This kit, it did actually come with what they call a flush mount handle. However, it's not a locking handle, so we've got to buy this kit separately. So it has actually got a lock for this door, so it fits in here. It will have like a little nipple that sticks out that moves up and down, you know, to locate into the lock at that side. But I haven't got any drill bits big enough. I need to put a 48 mil drill bit hole in there to fit it, and I haven't got that, so we're kind of stuck at the minute. But yeah, that's where we are at the moment. It's looking pretty good now. It's yeah, like it. Right, so I've got as far as I can really without moving on to other jobs that I need to do. So I'm going to leave it at this now. I hope this gave you a good idea on how to fit it. I'm not going to lie, it was a bit more difficult than what I thought it was going to be. But as you can see, I managed to figure it out eventually. We're a little bit confusing. We got measurements slightly wrong, but other than that, it's worked out all right. So I hope you're enjoying this bathroom renovation. This was part 2. Remember, subscribe for part 3 and see how it turns out. Cheers for watching. I'll see you in the next one.